Hey everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. My name's Soleil and I garden in a Zone 5B in mid-Michigan. And I am bringing you a video today from inside because it is cold. I woke up this morning, it was -3 degrees outside and wow. It was nice to see the sunshine because it definitely comes out when it's extra cold out in Michigan and there's no cloud cover. And I will take the sun. I will take the sun with the cold over the cloudy gray days, but it only lasted for a few hours. So since all of the snow is covering the outdoors right now, we're going to be working inside today because I've got a couple of things that I want to do. Hopefully I can list all of those off for you and remember them right now. I think we're going to look at staking some Amaryllis because I recently had an Amaryllis that was absolutely gorgeous. If you saw the pictures of it, you would know what I'm talking about. It was so beautiful. But what happened was it got so tall and the top was so heavy that eventually I lost it because the stem basically broke and snapped, and so it fell over and I couldn't keep it anymore. I did cut it off and try to keep it as a flower for a little bit, but it just didn't last as long that way. So we're going to be staking up the Amaryllis that I have right now. And then in addition to that, we're going to do a little bit of repotting. I have a couple of plants that are towards the edge of needing to be repotted. I have a rubber plant, it's a Ficus elastica, and then I have a, let's see, what is the other one? It's a ZZ plant. And I want to make sure that both of those have a little bit bigger of a pot for the whole next year. I typically don't do anything with my house plants during the summer or the warmer months because I'm so busy being outside. So now is a perfect time for me to be able to repot them. You may hear people say to you, you know, you're not supposed to pot those until they're ready to grow on, like in the spring or in the summer, but that's simply not necessarily true. I've always repotted whenever I felt like I could do the repotting or I needed to do the repotting, and the plants are doing just fine. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with unboxing some of these stakes that I got. All right, I ordered these stakes off of Amazon, and I'm gonna go ahead and get this box open here. These stakes are meant for things that require staking that are just one main flower stem. Okay, this is exciting because not only did I get stakes, but I also got a new pair of gloves. I forgot about that. So these were in this order as well, and they came in the same box. So these are my favorite cold weather gloves. I'm starting to wear through one of my pairs. I use these all of the time in the winter time because on the inside they have this really nice soft lining on them that helps to insulate your fingers. And in addition to that, the weatherproofing goes way up to above the knuckles, which is super important in the winter time. A lot of gloves just go up to the top of the fingers, and I find that I still would get wet and cold that way. These are from Wells Lamont, and they are cold weather. So I am definitely going to enjoy these. All right, so back to the stakes. These stakes were about $14.99. I just ordered them off of Amazon. And like I said, these were designed just to be able to stake up a single flower. And hopefully they're the right size. I've actually never bought a stake specifically for Amaryllis, but they did have it listed as one of the types of plants that you might want to stake with these. Seems like there's got to be an easier way, you guys. Why are packages so hard to open all the time? Man, I'm telling you. All right, I think I got it off now. So this is a full package of stakes. I think there's 6 of them. Let's see. Nope, actually there's 8 of them. And they are, I believe, 16 inches tall. And then they just have this nice round hook at the top that you can put the stem into. So let's go ahead and get these into my amaryllis pots so they're staked up. Okay, so before I go in close, full disclosure, I have a fungus gnat infestation that I am fighting right now, and I could kick myself because it is a result of bringing in and reusing the soil that was in the outdoor containers that I had the amaryllis in during the summer. So note to self and to others as a public service message, try not to reuse the soil from outside because it's very likely that there are other little things that have laid eggs in there that you may not want indoors. So as you can see, this amaryllis is rather tall and it definitely is going to require staking. It's probably a good 2 feet tall, just like the last one. The other one is also similar as well. So what we're going to do is just slip this top part around it, and then as you go down to the bottom, simply stake it into the soil, and that will prevent it from flopping. So let's do the other one. All right, we got the top on, and then we're going to stick it down into the soil. And just look at the bud at the top, isn't that gorgeous? It's getting ready to open up for us. And then we have more over here as well that are coming up, which is exciting. I thought I was going to get 2 out of here, but I have 1 at the bottom, I have 1 here, and I have 1 up here at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and stake the tallest one right now, and then I'm going to wait for the other 2 to get bigger before I stake them. All right, so here we go. We're just going to put it around the top and then set it down into the soil. Super easy way to fix an issue before it starts. Now, just to tell you a little bit about what I'm doing to combat the fungus gnats, I have, as you can see, all of these yellow sticky traps out, which are working really, really well. They actually caught some other things besides fungus gnats. There was probably 3 or 4 actual flies that hatched, as well as a bumblebee, which I'm not sure where that went. It didn't end up on any of the sticky traps, but it certainly was not very happy about waking up in my basement, I'll tell you that. The other thing that I have used, I got from Gardens Alive. Let me show you that product. So this is not a cheap product, but it is called Knockout Gnats Granules, and it is a biological larvicide that is used for organic gardening, and it is something that you put into your water as you water your plants, and it helps to kill the larvae. So it will not actually kill the adult fungus gnats, which is why I have out the yellow sticky traps, but this is, again, Knockout Gnats Granules, and it's a mixture that is a bacteria, actually. It's called Bacillus thuringiensis, and it will kill the larvae after they have hatched before they become an adult. So it will help to break that life cycle. So I'm coming at it from 2 sides, both from the adult fly as well as from the larval stage. This should knock it out. It made a big difference right away. I have very few adult gnats flying around, and I haven't seen many hatch since I've used this about a week ago. Another product that a lot of people swear by is this mosquito bits. I've used this in the past, but I haven't found it to be extremely effective, so I don't know. You can try it if you want to. Some people swear by it. Like I said, maybe it will work better for you than it did for me, but it's really, really stinky. This other mixture is stinky too, but as soon as you pour it on your plants, it's gone. So anyways, just some things to share with you in case you're facing a similar problem. All right, let's get to repotting. Let's grab our ficus plant. This is a ficus plant. This is a Ficus elastica, and this is the Taneki version, and I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but that is how it's spelled. And it is absolutely gorgeous. Let's look at that variegated foliage and all of the different colors, and the new growth just comes out with those tinges of blush, pink, and red on it, and I absolutely adore it. Someone noticed this in one of my videos recently and asked me a little bit about how I keep it doing well, and I will just say that I water it about once every maybe 10 days, but definitely let it dry out in between waterings or else it will become a problem. You don't want to overwater this plant for sure. So definitely after you water it, make sure that the soil is dry, like when you stick your finger down into it before you rewater it. And once you get a sense of how often you can go between waterings based on that process, then you'll just know moving forward. And it can really depend on how warm you keep your house, how much humidity you have, all sorts of different things like that. So it can be different for every person. Like I said, I water it about every 10 days. Sometimes I go for 2 weeks, sometimes I go 1 week. It all again just depends a little bit on the conditions and how fast it's growing and how quickly it's taking up water. So for this plant, I picked out a beautiful cream clay pot that I thought would go really well with the cream edges on the variegated leaves. So we're just going to fill this pot up a little bit, and then we're going to transplant the plant. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, again, just use my scoop, put some soil in the bottom of this pot, and this pot is a little bit deeper, so it will allow the roots to be able to spread a little bit. And one of the things about the way this was potted when I initially bought it was kind of off to the side. So I'm hoping that by repotting it this time, I'll be able to get it centered a little bit more in the pot. And so I was trying not to wait until it becomes totally root bound. It's definitely doing well. Lots of roots around the outside here. And I think it's going to be happy with being repotted. But because of the fact that it doesn't need repotting significantly, again, I'm just trying to get this into the pot where it can be centered like this, as opposed to way off to the side. I'm going to have to be careful with watering this plant because it will have more soil. And I'm just going to let it settle in for a few days because it's still moist from the last week when I watered it. Just like any outdoor plant, indoor plants also do not like to be buried, so make sure that you leave the top of the plant with plenty of room to ensure that where it flares at the bottom continues to be above the soil. After we pot this up, I think we'll take a look and I will show you the progress of some of my seedlings because I'm very excited. I'm starting to see some green growth. Now right now I'm just using a basic Miracle-Gro indoor potting mix. You don't want to push it down too hard, because you want to make sure that there's plenty of air circulation, but you also want to make sure that the plant is well situated in its new home. Well, you guys, I think this looks absolutely gorgeous. It is the perfect combination of colors, I think, right here. And I just love it. It actually brightens it up quite a bit and really does highlight the cream colors on the leaves of this. So let me get it back on the shelf and we'll show you what it looks like. All right, well, here is the finished product. I think it looks absolutely gorgeous right behind this alocasia. Super fantastic and beautiful. I do wish I had a little bit more contrast in the pots here, so I might have to do a little bit of rearranging as I go. And I've decided that for today, I'm not going to repot the ZZ plant. I think we'll leave that for another day because I want to make sure that I have the right pot for that. I think we're going to have a show within the next couple of weeks here of Amaryllis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. At least 5 blooms, maybe 6 are coming. It's going to be beautiful. And now with these stakes, I feel pretty confident that they're going to do well and I'm going to be able to see them throughout their entire bloom period. So I want to show you a little bit about how some of the seedlings that we've sowed so far are doing. So here we have a tray that is from Bootstrap Farmer. So I have 8 different cells in here, and I just sowed the pansies and violas into this en masse. Pretty much all of the seeds that were in each one of the packets has gone into each one of these areas, and I love what I'm seeing so far. This is the Pansy Burna Velvet Blue. So many seedlings are coming up here. This one barely has any seedlings growing up so far, so we're just waiting to see what happens. The Viola Blue Perfection look like we're getting quite a few seedlings here. We're just starting to get some of the brushstrokes viola pansies. And then in back we do not have any antique Layetta yet, but we do have the wine. So let me move this tag. You can see back there they look great. And I definitely think there is a downside to these bamboo markers, so I just want to show you these in full disclosure again, because of when I buy things I just like to let people know how they perform for me. And these bamboo markers, you can see they've gotten some like mold on them just from being under the humidity dome, and it's not really very attractive actually. So I would not buy these again unless I was using them outside of a humidity dome, which I never do when I'm sowing seeds. So I will probably stick with plastic and try to reuse them. These were very beautiful seed markers when they first started, but not great once they've been exposed to moisture. So that's the report on that. Very happy with how the seeds are germinating though. Really excited when I get these growing on and I get some of the true leaves. So we're just seeing some of the cotyledons right now. When we get the sets of true leaves on them and they are big enough to prick out, I will do that, and I will put them into larger containers that have ability for the roots to go much deeper, because this is only about maybe 1.5 inches deep, and so we'll get them in some pots where they can really set their roots down. Some of the other flowers that we have sowed include these snapdragons, and I'm really excited to report that these are also showing signs of life. We're seeing little teeny seedlings just beginning to pop up. These are the Potomac Orange and the Potomac Royal varieties, and I think they're going to be really beautiful, so I can't wait for them to continue growing on. And I'll try to show you updates on a regular basis as the seeds are growing and let you know how they do for me, so you can consider whether or not it's a variety that you might be interested in growing. Alright, next up I just want to give you a quick update on the Pretoria cannas that I have here. They're doing really great. Super excited about how well they're doing. We're getting a second leaf on this, and we are seeing lots of new growth on this one. I have a tip right here, another one back here, And so that one is really setting out some new growth as well. And then this one is shooting out a new leaf up here, as well as 2 new ones down here. So really looking good. I think we're going to have a lot of success. Might even be able to get another division before the true season gets on, but they are definitely growing really slow, which is what I anticipated, so I'm glad I did start them as early as I did. We'll see if I say that as well when we get to the beginning of April, but right now I'm pretty happy with how they're performing and the rate of their growth. Alright, well I do plan to do a little bit more winter sowing this year. I've only done 1 jug so far. I did the Black Prince Snapdragons, and I am going to do some more of the Snapdragons as well. Some of those Potomac Orange and Potomac Royals that I've sown indoors, I'm also going to sow those as a winter sowing soon so that I can see and kind of compare which one does better. I have a feeling the ones grown inside are going to do better because sometimes I just don't have that great of luck because we have such wet winters here in Michigan, but we'll see. So I hope you enjoyed this video today and gave you some ideas about how you could deal with fungus gnats if you get them. A lot of people do, so don't feel bad if you get them. Sometimes they just come in the potting mix that you already have. Now you can sterilize potting mixes just by using boiling water, and stirring it so it's so hot that they just all die, but I didn't do that. I didn't have any problems with my potting mixes so far. It was simply an error on my part bringing the pots in from outside and not cleaning off the soil. So I will try my best to remember to do that next year by making a note of it in one of my little notebooks that I have. Well, thanks so much for joining me today. I definitely appreciate you being part of my Oasis community. It's great to have you. I enjoy your comments, and I hope you guys are starting to think about spring and doing some planning on your own, whether that's through reading books or whether it's planning out what seeds you're growing or even just designing a new garden bed. That's some of the funnest things to do. Thanks again for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Bye!